everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. This is my sneak peek week for the annual catalog that's coming up in May. So I'm going to show you this week. I'm going to kind of focus on this catalog, maybe throw in a couple of, I'm going to try to do card club. And so for card club, I'm going to show you an alternate project for April's card club, and I'm going to see if I can do one of the sneak peek items with that. But for the most part, this week, I'm focusing on this catalog. And then next week, I'm going to go back and do, I'm probably done with Retired, but I'm probably going to go back to the January to June mini catalog, because there's a ton of spring stuff in there that I've hardly even played with. So this week's kind of a little play with this. In probably tomorrow's tutorial, I will probably get to my Try It class and tell you a little bit more about that. So kind of play with this. I got my pre-order yesterday, and then I posted, I don't even know where I put it. The video I just did, it may be under here. I don't know. I did an in-color comparison, so that's up. This tutorial is up. I'm going to do the Songbird now. So I'm going to do a few things this week with that. I'm working on my taxes. Well, that's not true. I'm supposed to be working on my taxes. I haven't. I got the papers out, like all the stack of papers there. I got that far with it. But Card Club is up. This is, my Card Club is a subscription. So to join and get in for April, you have to be in by April 10th. So if you go find this video, then that will explain all about Card Club. And like I said, I always do alternate projects. So I'm going to try to get an alternate with one of the stamp sets that I have pre-ordered out of this upcoming catalog. And then for my thank you gifts, so one of my thank you gifts for this month is that, I think it's called Under the Weather project kit. This is not that. I don't have any of the Under the Weather. I have a bunch of them coming. So you can get all the details for my thank you kits on my website or in my email. If you're on my email list, that's the best place. The other one's the bone folder. It's not the one and this has a Christmas charm on it. So you'll get a bone folder with the hole drilled in it, and then a charm. So my husband drills the holes. My girlfriend, I buy the charms off of her. She makes them by hand. They will have current designer series paper and current ribbons on them. This is a Christmas one. I don't know. My other one's laying here somewhere. I use it, so it's been in it. If you need a copy of the current catalog and you don't have somebody sending you one, and you're not a demonstrator, and I don't send them to you because you're waiting on your Stampin' Up! One. But if you don't have another demonstrator sending you one and you've never gotten one before, let me know. If you're my customer, they're coming. Mine all arrive on Thursday, and then I'll start sending them out then. All that information has been in my email, so you know when you should be expecting yours, depending on, don't know where my bone folder is. It's gonna drive me crazy. So for this card, I'm going to use the Sweet Songbirds. It's a punch bundle, and we're gonna use the punch. I'm not gonna show you now. I'm gonna use that. Then I'm going to use, let's go back over to this for a second, because I did ask when I showed you, if you didn't see my unboxing, go see it, because then if you have a request for the rest of this week, I'm happy to take them. I did have several people ask for me to use this set, this bundle, this. I am 99% certain, unless there's a supply chain issue and parts of this go on back order, that in May, this will be my online class. So May will be a little bit busy. Try It class, you'll register for that this month, and then it will go out as early in May as we can get it, because we have to wait and get all of the supplies when I can order them in May, and then cut those. And then I'll have Card Club, and then towards the end of May, I will have this. In fact, it may go out the beginning of June, but you'll register in May. So there's this, but I'm going to use this paper. So it's this paper. So let's take a look at the paper first. You can see I've already opened it because I did it in the unboxing. It's beautiful, beautiful paper. So it's floral, it's kind of fancy, but then on the flip side, it's kind of fun. This is the piece I'm going to use today. And when I pulled it out, that was the piece that I wanted to use. But look how fun it is. This is the side I ended up using, because it goes, like when you first look at this side, because this is the side. You know, most of our papers have the side, and then it has the other side. Like we have our Christmas papers that has the Christmas side, and then it has the other side. And we have the papers that have the specialty side with all the gold and the foil and the beautiful side, and then it has the other side. So this is kind of like the other side. This is the side. That's kind of how, in my mind, at least I refer to them. See, it's this side, And then we have the other side. So when I pulled it out, like this isn't the paper that you think, oh, I'm going to use that cute little cartoon bird and I'm going to pull this out. But I wanted to use new paper and I wanted to use new ribbon and I wanted to use new embellishments. But when we can pre-order from the annual catalog, it's a very select little bit of stuff that we can get. And I wanted to use as much new on it as I can. Now, when I do Try It class, every card has new paper and then as much new ribbon and new embellishments, new punches, new die cuts, and it's all template based, new folders, as many new things as I can get on a card, except for new stamps. I get on it for you. So you can see as many new things and try them as you can on our 12 projects. So this was a 12 by 12 piece of paper. Oh, there it is. Here's the other video. I thought it was probably buried. So this is up if you want to see how the new colors compare out of order. So there's this 12 by 12 piece of paper. So we have this. You can see how I've taken it out. But I wanted all the colors. Like I want all the colors on one card, which makes it... I used to have problems with this, but after you do lots of Try It classes, you learn how to get it so everybody gets as many colors as possible. So I wanted them all on one card. So I took a 1-inch strip. Was it 1 inch? Maybe it was 2 inches. And I cut it down. It was 2 inches. So I had the 2 inches and then I cut that into 1 inch. And then I cut them into 5.5. So on each one, I lost a little bit of yellow on this side and a little bit of green on that side. So now when I put it together, it will be 4 inches, a little bit overlaying. And that way I can kind of overlay it and we can mix and match how they go. And we'll have all of those colors on the front of our card to make our little bird with. So I'm going to use the Sweet Songbirds. Now, you know, it's a little songbird builder. So there's different ways you can do it. I'm going to use it where I'm going to stamp this and punch it out. Now this, I think, now I know it's supposed to go here, but I think you can also punch it out and make it be a big wing and then a little wing. And then you can also punch out the beak. So you don't have to have the stamp set necessarily if you don't want it, because the punch builder, you can punch colored cardstock out. Excuse me, I've talked a lot, made a lot of videos. But I think you'd want it because of the little beak, the little feet, the little eyes. But you can punch it straight out of color cardstock too. Or you can stamp it. We're going to stamp it. So you have closed eyes, you have open eyes, you have feet going this way, you have feet going that way. I'm going to use a little bird told me it's your special day. Or you can do a little bird told me you've got something to celebrate. So you can do it a different ways with a little bird told me. You can do a little note of thanks with a little song notes. Super fun. But see these little flowers here? This was kind of where I was going when I first got the paper out. They match those little flowers there. So you can do it either way. You could even mix and match and do it both ways. So let's get going. The card doesn't take very long to get together because anytime you do these stamps that kind of build off of each other, it's just pretty much stamping 101. Now I am, because it's new, and because I like to use as many new things as you can see, stick this one back here. Now, you often hear me say that I have dies that I keep on my table, and it's because I want to use them. So I have one that slides up next to me on my desk. It's a big one. And then I have these tabletop ones. So this is one of the new sets. I think it's called Fantastic Frames, Fabulous Frames. I've already put up all the cases because I don't keep mine in their cases. So this is the set. Now, one thing I wanted to show you, I didn't know this because they were on the little thing, you know, where you buy them. They were kind of like this, and then these two were over here. I thought these were going to be 4 pieces. Look how fabulous that is. You pull that off, and that's going to cut 4 corners. So I'll try to use these so you can see them, but I love that they're hooked together. I'm going to use this one right here. But then I can keep these on my desk, and I can remember to use all these to show you, or more often than not, than what I do is I put a bunch of like this, because they can be used with anything. And I don't put them back in the case that they came with, because if you do that, then you don't use them nearly as much as you could, because that can cut out a lot of things. On this flip side over here, this one is because I just used it. These are the baseball dies. If you're in the VIP club, that one's missing because we're going to use it. The baseball ticket and the giant banner, both of those, These don't even have to be baseball things. The shapes of them are just a lot of fun. So that's just a little tip. And I just got this we have a store called Meyer, and it's like half groceries, half everything. And it was in the craft row. It's actually a whiteboard and neither of them were magnet. I just bought some magnet sheet and put it on there and covered it up. So for this one, I'm going to use this frame here. So this is the only die cut. You wouldn't have to have a die cut machine if you skip this step, because I know a lot of you that get the punch bundles don't have a die cut machine. Now in my classes, when you do an online class with me, unless you're doing one where you have to buy the bundle, or you don't have to buy it, but like if I tell you you're going to use it, but otherwise, like in card club and stuff, I run these through for you. So you're going to run this through. Wait till you see how it embosses, because you know our machine's a cut and an emboss machine. So when it comes out, it has this that we're going to stamp on, which has a little beveled edge. And then it has this fun frame, which I almost went ahead and did it another time, so this would be a color, but because we have so much color going on the back of our card, I just left it. But see, it has these fun little curly cues on the fun little curly cue frame. I love that. So that's all of the embossing, cutting that we're going to do. So now let's do our little bird. Now at first I had a little template and I did it here and I cut them all out once. It ended up, because I didn't use all of the pieces like that it didn't make a difference. So I'm not going to do that. Pull it. My husband freshly painted my table, so I'm not going to stamp on it. I know if you watch me very often, I do stamp on my table because it's a work table, and then he just paints it for me later, but it's freshly painted on. So I'll wait at least a month or two before I stamp straight on it. So we have these pieces. This one doesn't need to be stamped on, so we're going to do these. And we're just going to punch this one out. So let's start with crumb cake. And we'll do crumb cake on I guess I don't want to get that dirty. I have lots of, and I haven't cleaned up all the way from my retreat. And I have my tulips from Card Club on blocks. I just ordered another whole set of blocks because I have lots and lots of blocks, and sometimes I just get tired of never having quite enough blocks. So we do crumb cake, and this is the little piece that fell out of my die cut. So this will be the frame that goes back in the middle. So I'm just going to add a crumb cake branch. Now, at the end, I am going to show you my original card. For all of those of you that think that I just stamp and magic happens on the first try, that is not true. So the first time I went and I just went over and I pulled out the colors that it said were in the paper. And Granny Apple Green is the green that it had in the paper. And then I did a yellow bird, and she was too yellow. I did her in mango, so I tried to fix her and it didn't work. And Granny Apple, you know, this is our brightest green until we got the new in color. And I'm going to show you how bright Granny Apple Green is not. Because, you know, when you get a Granny Smith apple, they're not bright. I mean, it's a bright apple, but it is not Parakeet Party. And this made all the difference in the world to my card. In fact, I think I could have kept my yellow bird, except that I pulled the whole thing apart. You know, sometimes when you make a card and you decide you don't like it and you start ripping at it, she was kind of ripped up. But I think just changing the colors of my leaves would have brightened up the whole card. And if you do the colors, if you watch the color comparison video, there is no comparison to how much brighter these leaves are to Granny Apple, and I'll show you at the end. So there's our Parakeet Party new in color, which right now is my favorite in color, but I'm sure in a couple of years when they retire, it will have changed to be one of the new blues, purples, just because we don't have anything in that color right now. So once I start playing with it, right now we don't have this bright of a green, but we've lived without it and I've been okay. The other ones, we just don't have anything in that color. So here's Flirty Flamingo. I'm gonna go ahead and add her feet. So there's her cute little feet. I need this again in a second. Let's add her notes. I'm gonna try to get everything done on this little back of the notes. I have them all because I don't have enough blocks at the moment. Well, I have a bunch of them in my bathroom. I just have to go in. They're all washed. I just need to, well, our spare bath is kind of my stamp washrooms. Anybody else have that? So there's that. That will be our background piece. So now let's do our bird. So get this little strip here. I don't need this whole thing. It's just, this was the size of scrap I had. So let's take that. And then my daughter was on her way to work and then got to her office this morning, and she sat there and I stamped maybe 6 birds. I could pull them out of the trash in every color combination. And I'm like, what about this one? What about this one? And we landed on Freesia. She wanted me to get Rococo Rose because that's her favorite color. Like, I'm not getting Rococo Rose out because it's way retired. And she's like, well, it looks like it has that in the paper. So there's our Freesia bird. That does have words on the back of it. And then you can see this is a 2 stamp. Now this piece does punch out. This shape punches out. So you could stamp it and glue it on top. You could also, I think that piece, as it punches out, and I'll show you in a second when I punch this, I think it could easily be a wing if you want 2 shapes of wings. So it looks more like she's gonna fly. Or so if you do more than one bird, they're not all the same. This is Pool Party. I'm just gonna stamp it on here as a 2-step. This is gonna be way more than 2 steps to color her in, but then you don't have to hand color anything, which I did color my first one when I did her in Mango because I did the center part in Saffron and the colors were too close. So then I did a little bit of coloring. Isn't that cute? So super simple. Now let's go back over here and get her eyes. Now she has open eyes and closed eyes. So these are her like singing eyes. And on the other one, I also added eyelashes, which you can do if you just want to add them with the bottom tip of a Sharpie, or I used my bullet tip on my blend. And then I'm going to wait till I punch this out because these are photopolymer, and I'm just going to wait till I can see it, and I'm just going to punch it on there. I mean, stamp it on there, on the punched part. If it was red rubber, then I wouldn't do that. And then here's her little beak. Just give her beak and flamingo. She looks kind of like an Easter bird in these colors, which I'm fine with because, you know, it's almost Easter, but she looks just cheerful. And when you put her on the back of all of this. So see, before I stamped the things in there and then I punched them all out, and then the way I ended up using the bird, it didn't matter. So it's easier, I think, to just do it. But she has a beak. She has this little piece, but I'll show you how it could also be, I think, a wing. And if I used it as a wing, I would have people say, that's supposed to be her belly. But see, if you stamp this, you can put it here as a wing. You can take it back here as a wing. It just needs to be colored. And when I did it, I just kind of rounded that edge right there. But you can stamp that if you want her beak to be 3D. I'm just going to go a super easy route on this. And then where did I put her little... I thought I laid it where I wouldn't lose it. Here it is. But see, because it's photopolymer, it's just as easy to stamp it this way as it is to line it up with your little template and do it that way. It's easier when you don't have a camera over the top of your head because nobody wants to see just the top of my head. But just do that and then you're good. I think that's all the stamping except for our greeting, and we need to do that after it's all mounted on our card. So I am just about out of seal because it has been on back order forever. So I have reached back into the dregs of my closet and found some old snails to use. So let's put all of this together. It was supposed, the refills were supposed to be in this week, and then it got moved again until like April, the week of the 11th maybe. It was supposed to be this week. So I'm like, I better stop using what little I have before it's all the way gone, because sometimes you guys need it. And I do have a few of these left. So what you want to do, so you can do these if you want. It ended up being a little busy. So let's flip them this way. Now what you don't want is they're all 5.5 by something, but I don't want them all the same direction, and I don't want 2 big ones by 2 large ones. So mix the colors and then flip them. So now this has yellow, so that can have pink. That has green, so I want the green to go down here. So just like that. And I made sure that they were 2 inches. So this was 2 inches, this was 2 inches, and then I just took the 2 inch and just cut it so they would all be a little bit different. So just pull these off. So they were 2 2-inch strips that were 2 by 5.5. So that made 4 by 5.5 because I wanted the whole, it's not 5 1/4, which is often what we do for a front, because I wanted it to have all of this fun color on the card. So 5.5, it becomes 5.5 by 4. And then just butt this right up against here. This would be something that we would do in a try it class, because you'd get to see, it wouldn't be the same piece of paper. You'd at least get to see 4 patterns of a pack of designer series paper, and then we'd probably have a tag or something else on the front or inside, so you could get 1 or 2 more pieces, because I try as many ways as I can. It ends up being a lot of template things, because then that way I can show you lots of pieces of the paper. But it does spill, because my husband doesn't like to cut paper for half of his life. And then you can see my card on this one isn't exactly, when my husband cuts it, we have a precision trimmer that he does glasses with. When I do it, I just use my old guillotine up here, and mine is not, one of them is not exactly 5.5, whether or not it's my little one or whether or not it's my big one. But the nice thing about this paper, it's not a straight paper. So if you just trim this, nobody will know. So got that. Now I'm going to take my frame here, and I'm going to use, which ended up working well, that I used this color, because this is our new in color metallic woven ribbon. If you remember the copper ribbon that we had a couple of years ago, this is the same. It's just now in the in colors. You can get it in all 5 of the new in colors. I'm just going to take our frame here. Move all this stuff out of the way. So just take it over to the side, kind of hold your frame, because the frame is a little delicate right there, because it's not a giant frame piece on the edge. So kind of make sure it's about halfway when you pull this. So the first thing you want to do is tie a knot, and you're just going to tie a bow. But you really need to have this knot here to hold that still. So you have that. Then tie your bow. Then pull it as tight as you can, because you don't want it to move. But we're going to add some adhesive there too. So we have that tight on there. Then just leave that for the moment. We're going to fix it, but we just want that on there for now. So flip this over. There is enough edge right here. We want this frame to be flat to the card. Okay, put it up here, and this goes about edge to edge, so it's about a 4-inch frame. And then you can come over here. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of adhesive, like right here and right here. And then if you saw the other video, you know this thread will separate. So kind of get it where your bow loops. Aren't too big. And then just kind of get one of these started. Just pull the one. And once you have it, kind of keep this so it stays kind of fat. And that's why we have our adhesive already here, because then you can kind of pull it. Kind of squish it down in there. same thing to the other side. So just pull that one string. I'm trying to put my hand so you can see it. Kind of pull it up there and ruche that ribbon, and then just stick it in there. And then when you trim these, it makes a world of difference, so it doesn't look messy anymore. And then you can put it, let's use a glue dot. My adhesive should have been a tiny bit higher up there, but glue dots can fix anything. There we go. So now we're gonna stick our panel in here, but if you put it flat, then you lose all of that. And I wanna make sure that you can see under there. If you put one dimensional, you still kind of lose a lot of it. So I'm going to double dimension it so it's nice and raised up, and then from the side you can still see all of that fun pattern that's going on under there. So do one, and then do another, but you have to make sure that you take those backings off the first one, otherwise these are just going to fall off again because they don't stick to the backing. And slide that under the bow, and then you can kind of offset it just a fraction, not so it looks crooked, but just enough then that you can still see that there's pattern under there. What's wrong, baby? My cat's crying because I neglect them apparently. Now I'm gonna find my words. I thought that I left them. Here they are. I'm not gonna stamp the inside. You'll get the inside. It's a little birdie told me, and then you can put whichever of the finish lines you want on the inside. So if you have a hard time stamping your words and sometimes you mess them up, then I would do this before you get to this stage. And then you want to make sure that it's on a part. I wouldn't do it on the seams. I'm going to do this one down here, which is not where my other one is, but you don't want to do it over the line because it'll be hard to stamp on, and you don't want to do it maybe where it's like kind of the colors are messy. You want to be where it's really easy to read. So that was a nice, easy place to read. And it's on the yellow on my other card, I can see now, but my yellow is not in that same spot. Now I want her to be popped up again, but she doesn't need to be 2 because that'll make my card be awfully high. So just put a couple of dimensionals here, but just flat, not the double layer. And she's just about as cute as can be. She can go a little flatter, she doesn't have to have her legs be all the way high, but she does have to make sure that her tail doesn't go off the card. So put it there. And then one final touch are these new glossy dot assortments. You can see sometimes when you have new stuff, you just want to make it all match. So I chose everything on this card so I could show you as many new things. Now this has all the colors in the cardstock. It doesn't have this new green, but that's okay because we have these. Now I want all 4 colors, but you need to use an odd number of embellishments. So go with 3 or go with 5. So I'm going to do 5. So I'm going to do 2 purples because our bird is, well, she's freesia, which is kind of a purple. So I'm not going to put the purples on my panel because my bird is already purple. So let's do those here. And then the other ones of these can be flowers on our tree. So anywhere where there's kind of a little hole in our leaves, we'll just fill those in. What's wrong, baby girl? With some, is that not adorable? So super simple. Now here's this one. So my bow's a little bit bigger. See, my words are over here. Kept them on the yellow. Oh, I forgot one more thing. I took my Wink of Stella. I'm not going to take the whole time to do it. And I just stellaed it all in because these have that glitter in them too. I'll take an up-close picture. Here, I'll show you. Hopefully you can see the glitter. Now, so I told you that originally this is Granny Apple Green. So this is definitely in the color family. Let me pull this over here while you're still learning the colors. See, it's in the color family. So here's Parakeet Party, here's Granny Apple, and here's Old Olive. So when I did the the thing, see, it's a coordinating color. And in fact, the ribbon, until it gets spread out, like the light colors in here are the parakeet, but the other colors are really, you'll be able to use that with any of these. So when I made the original one, well, she's been pulled apart so her eye doesn't really match anymore. But look at the difference that the granny apple, because if you just showed me that, I would think that might be olive. Because in my mind, granny apple is a bright green. But you know, as I was thinking about it, when you go to the orchard and you get a Granny Smith apple, they're not fluorescent. They're just a brighter green than, well, they're green. There aren't a whole lot of green apples. It's the Granny Smith. So this, look at the difference that having this bright green to our collection brightens up that whole card. And you can see here when I did the mango and then I did the saffron, they were too close. So then I tried to like separate it. So don't think that every time I stamp something the first time it's perfect, because it's not. And then I tried her in blue, and then I tried her in pool party, and then I tried her in mambo, and then I tried her in flamingo before I settled on the freesia. The freesia wasn't even on the table because I don't think that the freesia is in this paper. So there you go. Super fun card, new in colors, new ribbon, new paper, almost new dies. There is a lot of new on that. So come back later this week. I'll continue this little foray into new stuff before we go back next week with stuff you can actually buy. On yesterday's card, there was new. I mean, it was mixed with new and old. So there you go. I hope you like it. And if you need a catalog, let me know. If you want to try Card Club, all those details are up. And be watching for Try It Club because it will fill. I only leave it open for a little bit because I want to be able to start cutting paper of the stuff that we can cut. So everybody have a great one. I'll catch you back here tomorrow. Bye.